Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite tanking team in the Bay Area. On today's episode, the Sharks stink. Tristen Robins gets called up, and the San Jose Barracuda are officially eliminated from the playoffs. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. You can subscribe or follow for free wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys click for the notifications. That way you know when the latest episode is available. And we have a bunch to get into this weekend with the San Jose Hockey weekend basically coming to an end here for their season, with the Barracuda officially being eliminated with Tucson's come from behind victory, meaning next weekend's games are nothing. We also have call-ups for Robins and Knyzhov, and then, of course, the Sharks getting blown out at home 6-1 to the Edmonton Oilers. Before we dive into all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you guys by HelloFresh. Skip today trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com/NHL60 and use code NHL60 for 60% off plus free shipping. All right, let us start. We'll start with the transaction news, and then we'll dive into the game that was not the funnest game to watch. But Tristen Robins is set to make his NHL debut this week. I assume he's going to be playing on Monday against Winnipeg. Good for Robins. You can see, kind of as most rookies, as most players, going through their first pro season of hockey, right? Comes out strong, really solid start. In the middle, kind of hits that lull of like, hey, I'm not used to playing this many games type of thing. You're especially in an increase in physicality going from juniors to the AHL. But has really found his game over the last couple of weeks and is getting rewarded with his NHL debut this week. So I really like Robins. I think Robins is going to be I think he's going to be in the quality player. If I had to kind of, as I did with my franchise cornerstones episode last week, I think he's in the quality player type of situation, probably borderline above NHL average. Quality player would be kind of right where I would stick him. But you had to, excited for this guy looks like he's going to be a solid piece for the Sharks moving forward. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the lines, especially with so many kind of young players in. Do they kind of let some of these young kids just cook together? Probably not, knowing David Quinn. But, you're going to have just kind of looking at who's probably not going to play. So we know Jeffrey Viel is still hurt. Andreas Johnson is not coming back this year. Alexander Barabanov is not coming back this year. I wonder if we see like a Couture, Robins, Bordelot line. I would be really happy with that. Maybe we see a Hurdle, Peterson, Robins like that. We'll see what Quinn wants to do, but I would like to see Robins get a fair kind of top 6 spot. Let him play with some of the established guys like a Hurdle and a Couture, and then kind of let him get a nice taste of the NHL this season. This will be good for, again, you kind of see what the NHL is like, kind of gives you that nice little bump, that nice little, reward for such a long season. And then as you go into the offseason, you kind of know, okay, like this is the mindset. This is what I have to kind of work towards to become an everyday NHL player. So I still expect Robins to be starting on the Barracuda next year. We know how much Mike Grier likes to kind of slow cook these prospects, but again, rewarding some of these guys for their hard work making the NHL. His family's going to be there because I believe he's from Winnipeg, like the Winnipeg area. So he's probably going to have friends and family, getting to see. And there's nothing better than seeing that rookie lap and seeing the family reaction. So congratulations to Robbins. Knyzhov also getting called up. I assume this has to do with Vlasic. They've already been kind of playing down forwards with Jacob McDonald having to kind of slide up and play a forward role. Vlasic, he left Saturday's game. I think it was first or second period, left the game. Upper body injury. It looked like he fell on the ice pretty hard. So again, I think this is Knyzhov will probably slide in somewhere there. We know exactly where we're getting with Knyzhov, and I think he's, again, being rewarded for all the hard work that he has done. And I think we're going to see the best of Knyzhov coming in the next year or two, especially with him being just healthy guy right now. So I would assume Vlasic is probably going to be out. Knyzhov will slide in if they want to put. I would just put Knyzhov back with Erik Karlsson and let those guys play together. They had great chemistry a couple years ago. We know, I think that's a perfect complementary player for Erik Karlsson. Knyzhov, who's going to be a good stay-at-home defenseman, let Karlsson kind of cook type of situation. So it's just good to kind of see these guys. I was interested to see how the Sharks we'll get into the Barracuda at the end of the episode, but how the Sharks would try to handle a potential must-win games for the Barracuda this weekend. And so especially with the Sharks season. So remember, they play Monday against Winnipeg, Wednesday against Calgary, Thursday against Edmonton, and then the Barracuda play on Friday and Saturday. If those games meant something, I was really interested to see how the Sharks would handle it, if they would send all the guys down on Thursday type of situation and let them go play meaningful Barracuda games on Friday, but we shall see. So, I guess now it doesn't matter. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Barracuda kind of end their season here, but we'll get into the Barracuda, kind of a nice moratorium of the Barracuda moratorium. Anyway, that's probably not the right word I'm looking for. Anyway, no, moratorium means we're not talking about it anymore. We will have we'll talk about the end of the Barracuda season, kind of what went wrong this year and what to kind of look forward to going into next year. So before we get into this terrible Oilers game and talk about the Barracuda some more, do want to take a quick break, talk to you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. Grand slams, no hitters, double plays are back, and there's no better place to get in on the MLB action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. That's because right now new customers can step up to the plate with a no sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up, place your first bet, and get to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win. They have some fun ones like Aaron Judge to pick up. If he's just Aaron Judge hitting home runs, that's always a really fun one to root for. I prefer Arson Judge, but that's just me. So don't miss your chance to get a no sweat first bet up to $1,000 when you join FanDuel today. Just go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. All right. Yeah, there wasn't much to take from, at least from the Sharks' perspective, right? We know who Edmonton is. Edmonton at this point is a well-oiled machine who is ready to go on a deep, deep playoff run. Connor McDavid, very good at hockey. 150 points for Connor McDavid. Absolute insanity this season. Only the sixth player to do that. I was thinking, which one is a bigger accomplishment? Connor McDavid's 150 points or Erik Karlsson as a defenseman getting 100 points, and I really couldn't decide. I don't know. I'm because what Connor McDavid is doing is special, and it's almost what we almost kind of take it for granted, just because it's like, oh yeah, it's just Connor McDavid. Connor McDavid doing something we haven't seen since Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux also very good at hockey, and 150 points, and it was just kind of like, yep, cool. Yeah, we kind of expect that from Connor McDavid type of situation. So, and then you have Erik Karlsson, who's stuck at 98 points right now. I know he's got 3 games left to get 2 points. I think he gets it done. I know I mean, so they're playing Winnipeg, who's fighting for the playoff lives. They're playing Calgary, who I think is almost out of it. Where are they at? It's pretty close. They are technically fighting for their playoffs lives here. So they're points behind the Jets. So both the Jets and Calgary need these wins. Edmonton is 2 points behind Vegas for the Pacific. So Edmonton might not have anything to play for by Friday anyway, or by Thursday anyway. But I still think, though, Erik Karlsson, he will get his 2 points to get to 100. So it's just an interesting, I think Erik Karlsson's doing something we haven't seen it from a defenseman in 30 plus years, especially since the way NHL scoring is now compared to what it was basically for the past 30 years. I know scoring is going up, which is good, more exciting, more fun hockey. But it is tough. Connor McDavid is the best player in the world. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's tough for me to decide which one I like, which accomplishment is more impressive. I think you also have to take into account that Erik Karlsson doesn't have the same talent around him. The Oilers have 300-point scorers, and you can also say Connor McDavid is a big reason why they have 300-point scorers. Leon Draisaitl is pretty good as well too, but I don't know. I have, maybe it's the homerism in me, but I'm leaning slight Karlsson, just because we haven't seen it in a longer time, right? And then to the talent around him, it's not like the Sharks are some world beaters that are gonna go, or they're not even a playoff team. They're the fourth worst team in the NHL right now. So I think what he's doing on this bad team is more impressive, if that makes sense. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Which one's more impressive, Karlsson or McDavid? So, yeah, Sharks played bad. Edmonton kind of just did what they wanted in this game. A million shots up front. Yeah. So dig into the stats of this game. Just 5-on-5. The Sharks had 55 to 51 shot attempts. So the Sharks actually did generate more potential offense. Actual shots was 23 to 32. Scoring chances for were 38 to 32 in favor of the Sharks. High danger chances 15 to 19 in favor of the Oilers. 2.61 to 3.53 expected goals for at 5-on-5. So while the Sharks did take more, the Oilers were just all their shots are just right in front of James Reimer. Just it's dark blue. If you're looking at natural stat trick, excuse me. They just kind of did what they wanted offensively, and I think a lot of it was just the Sharks in the beginning of the third period really kind of made a push back with the shot attempts and stuff, but then at that point it was 4-1 type of situation, and the Oilers were just kind of coasting, waiting for this game to kind of finish, and then they actually just kind of put the hammer down and finished the game off with two goals there. So, and I mean, the backbreaker of this game was definitely the short-handed chance. Terrible decision by Karlsson to try to kind of feather that pass in, but giving up a short-handed goal with 6 seconds left in the period, that was the backbreaker. If the Sharks had scored on that power play and made it 3-2, then you can maybe start to kind of talk yourself into this game. Very interesting third period, but just terrible decision by Karlsson. You're gonna have to live with those. For every one of those, you're gonna get 5 amazing plays. So it happens, type of situation. The lines. So we had Zetterlund, Sturm, Svechnikov play together. Why is there not the fourth line? I guess they didn't play enough to really qualify. But Zetterlund, Sturm, Svechnikov played together. Peterson, Hertl, LeBanc, Gregor, Couture, Bordelot, and then we had McDonald, Lawrence, and I'm blanking on the fourth person. Lindblom was out. Sorry. Svechnikov, Zetterlund. Anyway, Raska, sorry, there we go. Adam Raska was the fourth person. I guess they did not. That's where they didn't play enough on 5-on-5, but yes, to qualify. But it was a kind of normal, They did okay. Zetterlund, Sturm, Svechnikov played the most at 5-on-5 with 9. They had 12-18 time on ice, 9 shot attempts, 4 gave up 10. Actual shots was 5-7 in favor of the Oilers. Gave up a goal. Produced 0.39 expected goals for while giving up 0.77. 3 high danger chances of 4, 5 scoring chances of 7. Peterson, Hertl, LeBanc, 11-48, 11 shot attempts, 4, gave up 12. Actual shots was 4-8. Had a goal, gave up a goal. 0.77 expected goals for, 0.84 expected goals allowed. And then Gregor Couture, Bordelot, 837 shot attempts, 10-9. Actual shots was 4-5 in favor of the Oilers. Did give up a goal, 0.29 expected goals for, 0.6 expected goals allowed. 2-3 high danger chances and 5-5 scoring chances. So, and then in goal, Reimer got hung out to dry a lot. Again, it's dark blue right in front of the crease. 35 shot attempts, had 29 saves, gave up 6 goals, $18 if you're counting at home. Expected goals against was 3.83. 15 high danger shots against, 9 high danger saves. A tough day there. Like I said, he had a lot of work right in front of him. 8 mid danger, 8 saves, 11 low danger, 11 saves there. What's probably going to be James Reimer's last start in San Jose. So, I assume he'll probably get one of the Calgary or Edmonton games, and that'll be probably his last game in Teal. So, interesting plenty of time to discuss who will replace Reimer. But before we finish and get into the Barracuda, I do want to talk about Jacob Peterson, who I think might have been, he's showing a little something. He's got a point in 6 straight games. You can kind of see, that goal that he set up for Hertl was him kind of, winning a forecheck there. Jason Demers, congratulations on 700 games. But Demers, kind of got a little pressure on him, and then Peterson made a nice play and found Hertl there. But I really like Peterson. I think he's going to be a quality middle 6 guy for the Sharks going forward. And this might be one of those rare win-win trades where, swapping 2 guys who didn't really fit in their current systems, or kind of had the management might have kind of lost confidence in their development. But I think Peterson, the Sharks might have found something. Peterson, he's still, he is an RFA this season, so they'll, but the Sharks have his rights. I assume it won't be too much. Actually, his will be interesting, especially with what he did as a rookie. But Sharks are going to have him for the next couple of years. I would very much like to see him, continuing to play with Hertl. That I think that's a really nice line there. Having a Couture, Barabanov, Bordelot, Eklund, and then having a Hertl, Peterson, LeBanc, whoever you want. Like, you can kind of see the makings of some potentially exciting lines for the Sharks going into next year. So we shall see with Peterson. But yeah, I think a great find. I think I don't want to say Barabanov 2.0, but would you be surprised if this time next year we're like, wow, Peterson really kind of found his, whatever we're talking about, a 40-point Peterson campaign next year, that we kind of like how we saw from Barabanov his first full season. So, and he's a lot younger. So then when Barabanov, Sharks acquired Barabanov. So Peterson, interesting player for the Sharks going forward. So before we finish up with the Barracuda, talk about kind of what went wrong this season, what to look forward to next season, and why I think this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg for the Barracuda. Do want to let you guys know about the Locked On Game to Game. Thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Now with your second listen, go check out the Locked On NHL Game to Game. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NHL with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. You guys are definitely want to get plugged in, especially with the playoffs here. That way, in case you can't watch every playoff game, you get a nice reaction to every playoff game from the host here. So Locked On Game to Game right now is going to be where it's at. So follow Game to Game on Locked On NHL, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. All right. RIP to the San Jose Barracuda with their loss on Saturday. And then the Tucson Roadrunners coming back from 4-0 to get a point in that game officially puts the playoffs out of reach for the Barracuda. So Tucson and San Jose, that was going to be a really, really fun series this weekend where the Barracuda would have had to win both games to get in, but it is not meant to be. So, this weekend we kind of saw what we've seen from the Barracuda, right? Where it's you see the blue line playing much better at the back end of the season, but there just wasn't enough consistent scoring on the front end, and especially with Eklund and Bordelot both being gone right now. I think it was just a little bit too much to ask these guys to kind of, fight back in this weekend series against the Eagles. So, but going forward, you do have to feel really, really confident that this is just going to be the tip of the iceberg for the Barracuda. And, last year was one of the worst years in Barracuda history. This year definitely had its moments, just the lack of consistency. And that's what's going to happen sometimes, especially when you have young players, right? How many guys on the Barracuda was this their first full season of professional hockey, right? Eklund, first full season in North America, right? Brandon Coe, first full season. Ozzy, first season out of juniors. Gushin, first season out of juniors. Robbins, Bordelot, like a lot of these guys, this was the first full season for them. So you got to feel like that second season now that they've gone through it. They've been through the battles. They know what to expect now in a full season. Going into next year, I assume Robbins, Ozzy, maybe Bordelot. We'll see. I still think Bordelot makes the team out of next year, but definitely had a very slow end to this season, both in the Barracuda and in the NHL. But you're going to have a lot of these guys who are going to be going into year 2 of their professional, and I think they're going to be better prepared for what to expect for an entire season. We've talked about before how this blue line has been remade. Shakir Mukhamadullin really found his groove down at the end of the stretch. I think a full offseason for him, knowing he's going to be playing professional hockey in America, learning the actual system, getting to know his teammates. Expect him to have I think he's going to have a great season next year. Nick Cicek, exactly what you're getting out of him. You're going to have Knyzhov, Ohotuk. I just got to work on his name some more. Coming back from an injury. I hope the Sharks re-sign Derek Pouliot. Like, you're going to have a lot of guys coming back, and expect this team to be just more consistent. I think that's the big thing. If this team is more consistent, they're going to do a lot better. They'll see what they do with Aaron Dell. I know Aaron Dell got basically every start down the stretch here, but V2 Makanemi comes back healthy. You're going to have Strauss-Mann in the picture, right? You're going to also have Magnus Krona in the picture as well. I think the goaltending's got some promise. You can see where this team is starting to head, and hopefully, especially at the end of the season here, you get a little bit luckier with the injuries, and you're not having to kind of pull as many guys up top that the Sharks have kind of had to do, and kind of scrape through the bottom of scrape through the Barracudas right now. So I think there's a lot to be excited about for the Barracuda going forward. Daniel Gushin, Ozzy, Robbins, Coe, and then even guys like Martin Kaut, if you want to start him in the Barracuda next year. You're going to have Andrew Agozzino coming back. If you want to re-sign a guy like Kyle Criscolo, who really made an impact for the Barracuda going down the stretch here. There's a lot to be excited for the Barracuda, and I know it's disappointing that they didn't make the playoffs this year. But again, you can see the pieces coming together. You saw the improvement for guys like Bordelot, and you saw improvements from Eklund. You saw Tristen Robbins. You saw Ozzy. Ozzy couldn't get on the ice at the beginning of the year. Had a hat trick last weekend. Like, you see these guys coming together. Daniel Gushin really rounding out his game. I think a lot of fans are really excited about Gushin, myself as well. And and I think even Coach John McCarthy, learning from those mistakes of being a first-time head coach, and that stuff's hopefully going to help iron itself out. The big thing for the Barracuda is one, be more consistent, and two, working on the penalties. Like just too many penalties where they shot themselves in the foot there, and especially ill-timed penalties where maybe they're starting to get momentum, or you need a goal and then you take a penalty and it's the worst time for it. So you have to feel really excited about the direction of this Barracuda team. And I know there's a long offseason ahead of a lot of roster moves, but I don't see why this team should not be a playoff caliber team, not scraping for a playoff, but firmly entrenched as a middle of the Pacific Division playoff team next year, especially with a lot of these young guys who are going to be huge contributors for them in their second pro season. So I know a little frustrating they make the playoffs. Would have loved to have seen some playoff experience for some of these guys, but nice offseason here. They know now, again, like we talked about with Robbins and some of these other guys, knowing exactly what you need to do to get ready for a full professional season next year. That year two, I think we're going to see a big jump from a lot of these guys. So that's going to do it today. We'll be back tomorrow, going to recap the Winnipeg Jets game. And then on Wednesday, have another draft profile. And then remember, no episodes Thursday or Friday. I will be on vacation, but we'll be back the following week to have start digging into the offseason, guys. We've made it to the offseason, the fun time of year to discuss all the weird and craziness. So we'll be back on Monday with the biggest questions that face the San Jose Sharks organization heading into the offseason. So plenty of fun stuff. Make sure you guys are following along. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can also make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. And until tomorrow, bye friends.